This stat was actually checked by our researcher at Fox Sports, David Albiani, and double checked by producer Tyler. So it's just wild to think about this. The number of entries for the transfer portal over this last window actually went up. So as of May 1st, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2,623 players entered the transfer portal. That is almost 300 more than the last time, right? So we are still going up in the number of guys that feel like they need to go into the portal to give themselves another opportunity to start over. 75% of those players are underclassmen, which is significant because underclassmen have to put their names in the portal during the window. If you're a grad transfer, you can do it at any time. So we still might see some moving and shaking throughout the summer with guys either coming out of the portal or grad transfers deciding to go in and then coming out. But that leads us into what I thought was perhaps the most intriguing entry into the transfer portal and out of the transfer portal last week, and former Notre Dame quarterback Tyler Buchner. So Buckner is leaving Notre Dame to join Alabama, which now has 5 scholarship quarterbacks. This is interesting. This is really interesting because it also means Nick Saban and Tommy Rees don't know what they have or know exactly what they have following their spring practice period. You'll know the only returning starting quarterback for Alabama is Jalen Milroe, who got the start against Texas A&M after Bryce Young went down with injury and looked anything but comfortable. 12 of 19 for 111 yards through the air, 3 TDs and a pick, but also fumbled the ball twice while rushing for 81 yards, 17 carries in a 24-20 win against a 5-7 Texas A&M. You wanted to see more from Jalen Milroe in that spot, help him solidify his position as the guy in 2023. And going into the spring, Saban said as much. He wanted to give all of his quarterbacks an opportunity to win the job. None of them won the job in the spring. That includes not just Milroe, but former 5-star quarterback Ty Simpson, Eli Holstein, and true freshman Dylan Longerin, who we did not expect to compete for that job. We expected to be between Simpson and Milroe. But knowing that Tommy Rees is a brand new coordinator to Alabama, who is just 30 years old, who's also coming into Alabama, not putting in his own system, but making tweaks to the one that already exists, you can understand how he would want to feel very comfortable with a guy behind center. And Tyler Buchner is such a guy for me, right? This is a dude that won the job at Notre Dame outright in 2022 and got the start against Ohio State and did not look bad. Suffered injury, came back, and looked very, as we know, Tyler Buchner-esque, right? Against South Carolina. What I mean by that is he was 18 of 33 for 273 through the air with 3 TDs. He also threw 3 interceptions. There's some things for Tyler Buchner to clean up. As a matter of fact, I think producer Tyler was way out in front on this. He's a Notre Dame fan, Notre Dame alumnus, saying Tyler's got to learn how to get down on the ground and not take so many hits and put himself in positions where he's forcing these throws or he's making bad decisions. If he can do that at Alabama in preseason, I believe he could be the guy. But the headline here isn't Tyler Buchner becoming the 5th scholarships quarterback at Alabama. The headline here is Alabama doesn't have Bryce Young anymore. I know that feels like it's coming like right off of surface, but yeah, that's what it is. Because when you look at what Bryce Young was able to do for Alabama, both in 2021 and 2022, you can kind of understand why Nick Saban would want to go away from having his quarterback be the guy that has to save him when they get into trouble. Bryce is a guy that threw 32 touchdowns, threw for over 3,300 yards and just 5 INTs last year and didn't win the Heisman in 2022. He did that in 2021. But what made him so great at Alabama is his ability to problem solve on the move. He's extremely elusive and he's precise with the ball. The knock against Bryce Young is that he probably created more problems than he needed to just by not standing there long enough or standing there too long, holding the ball in any respect. That said, when Bill O'Brien decided he wanted to go back to the NFL and Nick Saban gets an opportunity to remake his offense, it's telling that he goes to get a guy like Tommy Rees. Now, on the surface, you would think that that's because you want to go back to a pro-style offense. And I think some of that is true, but not as true as you might think, right? What made Alabama really cool last year is not only their ability to throw the ball when they needed to, but that they averaged a gaudy 5.5 yards per rush. Got it that time, right? Over 2,500 yards rushing on just over 400 carries. That's pretty outstanding. That means you're good explosively because they weren't good in their short yardage packages. And I think that's a thing that Reese can help them with, along with a play action vertical passing attack that gets back to something like what you saw when Jalen Hurts first got to Alabama in 2016 and became basically the guy that we all know of at Philadelphia, or at least showed signs of being capable of being that guy. Now, on top of Bryce Young not being there, you also have 3 tailbacks that you think you should be able to lean on in 2023. Roydell Williams, Jace McClellan, Jam Miller. These are guys that I expect to tote the rock. And if you got a guy like Jalen Milroe or Tyler Buckner, guys that are capable in zone reads, in option reads, you give them opportunities to beat people one-on-one and not have to read so much of the field, I think you're going to be in a really great spot. Very excited to see how this develops for Alabama, knowing that, well, it's going to be tough to keep 5 scholarship quarterbacks happy. See what that looks like come September. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.